Hey there, I'm Steve, and welcome to Jamsin Entertainment. And welcome to the conversation. Just before we get started, there are many ways you can help. You can like and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. But most importantly, please share this video. Get the word out there as a community. We can talk about all the things that we love. Today on Throwback Thursday, and for the next few months, yes, months, I'm going to be reviewing two of my favorite sci-fi movies out there, Star Wars and Star Trek. And I'm going to do one after the other. I'm starting with, I know these movies have been reviewed to death. I did find a few things I could add to this, and we're looking at Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. This has a huge cast, starring Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Jake Lloyd, Ian McDermott, Pernilla August, Hugh Quarshie, Ahmed Best, Anthony Daniels, Kenny Baker, Frank Oz, Terrence Stamp, and Ray Park. I am going to keep all these movies spoiler free, because as I've gotten older, I'm finding more and more people have never ever seen Star Wars. And I ask them if they're aware of the huge twist that Star Wars is famous for. They always say no, but they probably don't know what I mean by huge twist. I mean, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's pretty common knowledge out there. But maybe some of the no's when I ask that question are genuine. They have no idea about the twist. I mean, there are reaction videos of it, so there's that. So, movie starts out with text like all Star Wars movies do a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and then it has the opening scroll, which the spin-off movies don't do for some reason. We'll get to those. Well, I actually reviewed Rogue One, so I won't be doing that one, nor the sequel trilogy. Those reviews are already done. So in this one, it says the Trade Federation has set up a blockade around the planet of Naboo, where Queen Amidala, played by Natalie Portman, is refusing to sign a treaty that would give the Trade Federation more power, and I wouldn't do that either. The complaints about this movie are pretty well known. One of them is the plot, where it's political heavy. I saw this when I was 13. I didn't take notice of it. I had a blast with it. But something else I've also known is that Star Wars has been split up into camps. You have your diehard original trilogy camp that swears by it, and it's absolutely perfect, and every trilogy has its issues. We'll get to that. Then you have people that swear by the prequels. Now this is the younger crowd. This is the generation that grew up with the prequels, not the generation that watched the prequels after they grew up with the original trilogy. And then you have general Star Wars fans that they don't care. They get to see Star Wars and they love it. I'm a mix of all three. I guess you could say I'm just a general Star Wars fan, but I definitely have strong feelings about certain movies and plot points and characters and all that stuff. But as a 13-year-old, I had no problem with this plot. I was excited to see Star Wars because, for me, I was introduced to Star Wars late when the re-release of the trilogy came out in 1997 for this special edition. That's how I got exposed to Star Wars. And so I was excited to see new Star Wars. Another thing the movie's ragged on for is the acting, which others have talked about, that it's a mix of George's directing and just the actors, and two actors that don't deserve any kind of hate whatsoever, but unfortunately they got a lot, and their lives were ruined by it. Jake Lloyd and Ahmed Best. And unfortunately, I was part of that hate for quite a while. And thankfully, I'm no longer part of that. I've matured, and I really feel for these two. Jake Lloyd was teased so much about this role. I really thought it was the fans, but no, it was just his classmates. Just regular kids that he knew. They teased him about this role so much, he left acting entirely, which is just wrong. And Ahmed Best, that poor guy, he put his heart and soul into Jar Jar Binks. Yes, Jar Jar Binks is annoying, but he didn't deserve the flack that he got for it. The man was suicidal, and that is just heartbreaking. I'm glad he's still with us. I'm sure he's acting in other capacities, because I certainly haven't seen him in any other movies. Maybe he's in other movies, I don't know. But I'm glad their lives are better now. I'm sorry for the hate I did give them then. I have nothing but love for them, and I wish them well. And watching the movie for I don't know how many times, because I typically watch all Star Wars every year. And I can quote the movie, not verbatim right off the top of my head, but while the movie's playing. Basically, if you don't like people that like to quote the movie as they're watching it, don't watch it with me. But watching it, there's other children in this. They're also bad. They're child actors. Not many child actors are actually good. They're normally bad. You have your exceptions like Macaulay Culkin that is actually a good child actor. What makes the movie absolutely worth it for me, and I would assume a lot of people, is the lightsaber fight. Me and a lot of people in the theater went crazy when the other side of Darth Maul's lightsaber lit up. Like, mind was blown. It's like, that's a thing? I was obsessed with all the duels throughout the prequels. They are just awesome. They take it to a whole new level. I was obsessed with the duels in the original trilogy as well, but I was able to do every choreographed part of each fight scene. I probably still can if I tried. That's how big of a dork I am. And that's something that even the people that strictly love the original trilogy, they can't take that away from the prequels. I can't imagine any kind of an argument that would, and they're just wrong. So outside the political plot, the Sith, who are the bad guys, are back. They are an age-old enemy of the Jedi, the good guys, and they were wiped out a millennia ago, as they explain in the movie. You have Darth Sidious and Darth Maul, and I won't go into detail because I'm trying to keep this spoiler free, but we'll talk about those two later. So I've been going on and on about a whole lot of things. What different can I bring to this review? Well, this movie is the only time outside of the video games, I'm relatively certain about this, that the Force power, Force speed is used. It's in the opening. The Jedi were double-crossed and they're trying to get to the Viceroy. He's the sub-bad guy. And they send out what's called droidicals, or destroyers. They roll out and they have shields. Kind of difficult to defeat, even for a Jedi, even though they have the Force. But, I mean, that's another thing. They use Force speed to run away. I don't know why it doesn't show up anywhere else in the movies or the TV shows. It shows up in video games, not other mediums. Who knows? Maybe it shows up in the comics. I don't know. Another thing, I think this has been pointed out, but I'm going to say it anyway. There's a point where Jar Jar, okay, he's always being annoying, but he's not helping matters in one part of the movie where Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Jar Jar are in this submarine, and they're leaving the Gungans. And to calm Jar Jar down, he does the Vulcan nerve pinch. There's no other way to look at that. It's the Vulcan nerve pinch. Now, I have heard that Lucas says if it wasn't for Star Trek, it wouldn't be Star Wars. And I think Roddenberry said something similar, like if Star Wars wasn't a hit back in the 70s, Star Trek, the movie, would not have been made. I don't know. There is one picture where they meet, which is pretty cool. I'll see if I can find that. And lastly, there's one scene bothered me and a whole bunch of fans. They're trying to escape Naboo, and they walk up to these battle droids. And Qui-Gon says he's taking these refugees to Coruscant. The droid doesn't know Coruscant. And for the longest time I was like, how does the droid not know Coruscant? And then it just dawned on me on this viewing, it's a battle droid. Battle droids are pretty stupid. They more than likely know battle tactics, because that makes sense, and basic information of the area they're in. That's probably it. So those are three things. I'm pretty sure, well, the battle droid thing has been talked about, but the other two things I'm not aware of being brought up in any other conversation. Now, there is multiple ways to watch Star Wars. I'll link my podcast in the description below where I lay it out because it's a lot and it changes each time that Disney comes out with something new Star Wars. I'm just going to say I'm going to be watching the short version, which is the 2D animation of Clone Wars, because I kind of already did a review of the 3D animation one. But while I'm reviewing that one, I'll talk largely about both of them. Just before the send-off, I'm gonna wait on the rating because there's a whole story with that and me, so we'll get to that too. Those are my thoughts on Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching and live your imagination.